Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am so incredibly excited to dive into this one with you. Today, we're looking at something really special. We are unpacking the spiritual mechanics hidden right there within biblical texts. Think of this as a dedicated lesson for believers where we're going to completely zero in on our spiritual connection with God. We'll be leaning heavily on the Gospel of John to understand the true biblical protocol of how spiritual realities are actually brought into our physical world. So let's get right into it.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to quickly hit 5 key areas. First, the true meaning of spiritual manifestation. Then, the vital connection between the vine and the branches. Third, having faith before the evidence shows up. Fourth, the absolute necessity of active steps and obedience. And finally, the ultimate goal of it all, God's glory.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the true meaning of spiritual manifestation. Now, the word manifestation is literally everywhere these days, right? It's a massive buzzword in popular psychology and self-help. But to get what it actually means for a believer, our sources show us we have to look through the lens of the gospel. And the biblical definition, well, it is fundamentally different from the trendy stuff. It's not just some isolated act of sheer human willpower. Biblical manifestation is bringing spiritual realities into the physical world, and it's built on 3 solid pillars: faith, a constant connection with God, and the authority of Jesus' name. So unlike the secular practices, this is about divine authority. It's not just about wanting something really, really badly for yourself.
Which brings us right to Section 2, the vine and the branches, or the principle of constant connection.
This right here is the absolute foundation of everything we're talking about today. We have to clearly grasp one essential truth. Absolutely zero power comes from ourselves. Jesus uses this incredibly profound, brilliant metaphor of a grapevine. Think about it. A branch literally cannot bear fruit by itself. If you snap a branch off a tree, what happens? It dries up, it dies. To bring anything into reality, the number one condition is a continuous, living spiritual connection to the source. You have to abide in him, and his words have to abide in you. Only then does the system actually start to work. This perfectly illustrates a very specific 3-step protocol from our sources. Step 1, abide in the vine. Keep that vital connection alive. Step 2, ask in his name. Now, this isn't just treating Jesus' name like some magic spell you casually tag onto the end of a prayer. It's actually a mechanism where the Father's power is channeled right through the Son's authority. And step 3, receive for God's glory. The result is always, always given so the Father is glorified.
Okay, moving on to Section 3, faith before evidence.
This is where we need a massive paradigm shift. We have to learn to actually believe the word before we ever see the physical proof. Our materials highlight 3 striking micro-narratives from the gospel where accepting the spiritual reality came first. First, there's the royal official. His son was healed simply because the father believed the word from a distance. Then Thomas. Remember what Jesus told him? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. That is the immense power of faith without visual proof. And finally, Lazarus. Right before the resurrection, Jesus reminds Martha, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" Faith is that bold expectation that precedes the miracle.
Actually, let's look a little closer at the story of that royal official. There's this one mind-blowing detail. When the man asked for healing, Jesus simply said, "Go, your son will live." And you know what? The man just believed it and went. He found out later that his son's fever broke at the exact second those words were spoken. I mean, wow. That right there proves the incredible, tangible power of expectant, active faith. So keeping that story in the back of your mind, I have a question for you. Is faith just some passive feeling you have while sitting on your couch, or does it require real-world movement? That brings us perfectly to Section 4, active steps and obedience. Authentic faith is never passive. Our sources show us over and over that divine intervention often requires our physical steps. We're not just spectators, we're active participants. Let's compare 3 classic examples. To the paralyzed man, Jesus didn't just say, "Be healed." He gave a direct instruction: get up, pick up your mat. Physical movement was required. At the wedding in Cana, the miracle kicked off when the servants showed simple obedience by filling the jars with water, and the man born blind. He was told to go and wash in a very specific pool. In every single case, obedience acted as the trigger. It literally activated the miracle. Think about that command to the paralyzed man for a second. Get up, pick up your mat, and walk. Imagine the sheer courage it takes for someone who hasn't been able to move for years to try and stand up. Yes, the divine authority of Jesus gives the command, but the spiritual connection, it demands our active participation. A miracle doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It requires us to be bold enough to take that first step into the totally unknown.
And finally, Section 5, the ultimate goal, God's glory.
This is the climax of our explainer today. This truth completely shifts the paradigm regarding the true purpose of faith. Bringing anything into your life does not happen because of human effort. As Jesus clearly states, the flesh counts for nothing. It's totally useless. The true source of power is uniting with the Spirit of truth, who guides believers. The Spirit always takes precedence over the flesh.
We really have to grasp the colossal difference here. The contemporary secular idea of manifestation, it almost always revolves around personal gain, ego-driven desires, and just exhausting human effort. It's about attracting wealth or success just to feed the ego. But biblical manifestation is the exact opposite. The true, ultimate purpose of all answered prayers is God's glory and the fulfillment of His will, not human praise. True faith leaves absolutely no room for egoism. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with something to really chew on. Evaluate your own spiritual walk. When you pray, when you step out in faith, what are your desires actually focused on? Are they aimed at personal gain, or are they about allowing God's glory to shine through you? Because honestly, that distinction determines whether you are truly plugged into the vine. Reflect on that this week. I really hope this lesson has helped you understand the biblical protocol of faith on a much deeper level. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and keep seeking the truth.